What a world, what a world. Just when you think you've seen everything Las Vegas has to offer, a true one-of-a-kind comes along and bowls you over. This is a shocking restaurant review you won't want to miss, because you'll never see another place like this one we're taking you today. This may be the most unusual restaurant we've yet uncovered in Vegas. It's only open 3 days a week, Thursday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Hours so limited, just getting in makes you feel like a VIP. But it gets even stranger. This hidden cafe is run by Chef Sterling, a man who was once a private chef for Frank Sinatra. Yes, the Frank Sinatra. He also has run major strip kitchens, including the Wynn, and now he's quietly serving some of the best breakfast food in Las Vegas from a small, unassuming, and overlooked spot most tourists will never find. No flash, no hype, just the kind of food that feels like grandma's cooking, if grandma cooked at a Michelin level. So tap your heels together 3 times and repeat after me. There's no place like Zenaita's. Welcome to Let's Eat Vegas, your guide to the good, the bad, and the delicious. I'm an award-winning chef who knows food and tells it like it is. If you want the truth, pull up a chair, because today we're heading to Zenaita's Cafe and pulling back the curtain on the true Wizard of Oz Vegas. We began the day with this amazing PBJ marshmallow French toast. We were told, you can drizzle syrup on this, but it doesn't need it. Well, trust me, don't dare pour any. None is required. It's sheer perfection the way it lands on your table, and you don't mess with perfection. When this beauty arrives, you might be tempted to pick it up like a sandwich. Well, don't do that either. Use a knife and fork. It may be disguised as a simple PB&J, but in reality, it's French toast and so much more. This is what an adolescent peanut butter and jelly sandwich dreams of becoming when it grows up. Like something straight out of Willy Wonka's imagination. One bite will leave you speechless. Resting on a cloud of marshmallow fluff is the most extraordinary French toast you'll ever taste. Dipped in a magical custard, fried, then baked to perfection. The outside is devastatingly crisp with a deep caramel-like flavor, while the inside hides pockets of organic peanut butter and luscious jelly. Somehow, the marshmallow weaves itself through every bite, tying this glorious creation together. And then, finally, the bacon, hand-cut, deeply flavorful, and everything bacon should be, plus a little extra. This dish is no munchkin in the flavor department, and truly a one-of-a-kind in Las Vegas. Don't miss it. Before brunch became the weekend sport that it is today, smoked salmon on a bagel, often called lox and schmear, was a classic of New York Jewish delis, tracing its roots back to Eastern European immigrants in the late 1800s. They brought the tradition of curing fish, which met America's bagel boom head-on in the early 20th century, creating a now iconic pairing. Smoked salmon, toasted bagel, cream cheese, tomatoes, red onion, capers, chopped hard egg, and unexpectedly, Dijon mustard. What a beautiful plate full of gorgeous smoked salmon and freshly whipped cream cheese. The bagel is hot and freshly toasted. The smoked salmon, some of the richest lox-style salmon you'll ever have the pleasure of eating. This plate mixes tradition with whimsy. It invites you to play with your food, a beautiful display of a lox lover's dream come true. It's New York on a plate. I love the umami-rich salmon with the onions and capers. The tomatoes offset the fishiness and cut through the fatty richness. The eggs are a rich component, and I love the green onions on top. All these flavors play so well together. I have to admit, I've never tried mustard with this particular delightful combination, but it works, adding a surprise element of subtle, tart, and bitter notes to this wonderful composition. Jerk chicken has deep roots in Jamaica, born from the island's early settlers who blended African cooking traditions with native island spices. Meat was slow smoked over pimento wood, rubbed with fiery Scotch bonnet peppers, allspice, and herbs, a method perfected over centuries into a national treasure. I'm speechless right now. I just want to dig into this dish and let the honest-to-goodness flavors of real Jamaican jerk chicken wash over me. Break the yolk and let it run over the jerk. It mingles with a fantastic sauce underneath. A sauce which I first mistook for hollandaise, but in reality, it's an original creation by Chef Sterling's son, a rich blend of peppers, cream, and some sort of magic that transforms it into a hollandaise-like doppelganger. But whatever it is, it's brilliant. Chef Sterling spent time in Jamaica learning from local cooks who carry on that centuries-old jerk tradition, and it shows in every bite. Paired with homemade bread, perfectly cooked eggs, and that unforgettable sauce, this is a dish unlike anything you've had before. Once you try it, you'll be thanking me, telling your friends, and planning your next visit before you even leave. Here we have another smash-up of two iconic dishes. The caprese salad first came to life on the sun-soaked island of Capri in the early 20th century, created to honor the colors of the Italian flag, red, white, and green, through ripe tomatoes, creamy mozzarella, and fresh basil. Half a world away, and decades earlier, Eggs Benedict was born in New York, with stories credited either of a wealthy Wall Street broker craving a hangover cure at the Waldorf Hotel, or a hungry patron at Delmonico's asking for a twist on poached eggs and toast. I never pictured this iconic collision, but wish I'd thought of it first. This is Eggs Benedict reborn with the soul of a caprese salad. The hollandaise, infused with pesto, is drizzled with sweet balsamic reduction, echoing the salad's bright and tangy notes. The richness of the sauce is lifted by the freshness of the tomato, creating a dance between creamy and crisp, savory and sweet. And let's not forget the potatoes, perfectly seasoned, golden on the outside, fluffy inside, quite possibly some of the best breakfast potatoes I've ever had. I can imagine myself sitting along the Amalfi Coast, taking in the Mediterranean sunshine, leaving my taste buds both confused and delighted at this intoxicating combination. The chicken has been brined to perfection, so the flavors run deep into the boneless breast meat, keeping it uber moist. The batter is outrageously crispy and perfectly seasoned. The waffle is so light it almost floats, yet it has a sharp exterior that kind of defies logic. This is an amazing version of fried chicken and waffles, and you'll be thinking to yourself, Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Anyway, you have to try them. And when you get back from Oz, consider subscribing to our channel. According to YouTube, over 60% of the people watching right now are not subscribed.
You've always had the power.
Subscribing is free and helps us keep bringing you the good, the bad, and the delicious. Then tap the bell and choose all so you don't miss our reviews. All right, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Shrimp and Grits is a Southern classic that traces its roots back to the low country of South Carolina and Georgia, where it began as a humble fisherman's breakfast. Shrimp fresh from the docks were sautéed with bacon or butter and served over creamy stone-ground grits, a hearty way to fuel the day. Over time, it migrated across the South, picking up Cajun and Creole influences along the way, especially in Louisiana, where bold spices and rich sauces gave it a whole new life. One bite of this version takes me straight back to the days I spent in New Orleans and the food I had on Bourbon Street. The flavors are authentic and clean, that rich, savory taste you only get with true shrimp and grits, not some wannabe imposter. The sauce is once again the creation of Chef Sterling's son, that incredible hollandaise impersonator that somehow outshines the original. I can't say many sauces are better than hollandaise, since as a lad it was first to win my heart, and I still crave it to this day. The grits are honest and pure, drenched in this additional sauce. Take a bite of the grits bathed in it, then let the shrimpy goodness and subtle aromatic notes from the roasted peppers pureed into the sauce work their magic. Break open your egg and follow the flowing yellow brick road to the shrimp, stars in their own right. Fresh, perfectly cooked, and elevating the whole dish. This is a warm bowl of rich, creamy comfort. Kiona's pancake stack carries on a breakfast tradition that stretches back to early America, when pancakes were a hearty, no-nonsense meal meant to fuel farmers for the long day ahead. Over the years, every diner and home cook gave them a personal twist, from the choice of flour to the style of syrup. Well, these could easily pass for the kind of pancakes you'd find stacked high on a 1950s roadside diner counter, right next to the coffee pot, making regulars smile before the sun had fully risen. Here, they're served with room temperature butter. Pour it over and let it melt into every crevice before adding the syrup. The result is a delicious simplicity at its best. Light and fluffy, yet somehow densely loaded with flavor. You can taste the care and skill in every bite. On the side, you get chicken or turkey sausage, freshly made with sage, black pepper, and just the right amount of seasoning. It's lean, not greasy, and full of savory flavor. For those who love a traditional breakfast done right, this is the kind of plate that just feels like home. Before we even get to the sandwich, let's talk ketchup and fries, because they deserve their own spotlight. I brought my homemade ketchup today, made with natural cane sugar and zero high fructose corn syrup. Sorry, Heinz. This old-fashioned recipe is the kind of ketchup I grew up with, back when everything wasn't overly processed. And these fries are exactly what I love. Crispy on the outside, airy inside, and not the least bit greasy. Whatever seasoned salt Chef Sterling uses, it's hit that nostalgic, old-school flavor dead on. Dip them in my ketchup, and they're downright irresistible. Now, about the main attraction. The cheesesteak's roots go back to 1930s Philadelphia. Traditionally, it's thinly sliced steak, onions, and either provolone, American cheese, or the ever-controversial Cheese Whiz. Chef Sterling, a Philadelphia native, pays tribute to his hometown classic, but puts his own spin on it. Instead of processed cheese, he tops grilled, thinly sliced steak with caramelized onions, mushrooms, and a rich sauce with the same creamy notes you'd find in an Alfredo. And yes, I can already hear the gasps from Philly purists clutching their Amoroso rolls. Alfredo on a cheesesteak! But trust me, this isn't some tourist gimmick. It's a sophisticated, chef-driven twist that still respects the soul of the original. The result? A delicious, messy sandwich that's both a nod to tradition and a leap outside the proverbial box. I'm glad I wore my black shirt. And thankfully, I keep a whole reserve at home for meals just like this one. Most of you know by now, I'm about as far from vegan as you can possibly get. But this rice dish, it takes me straight back to my childhood. I never needed coaxing to eat. I loved food and was adventurous from the start. My 5 siblings, however, well, not so much. My mom, ever the clever cook, would hide vegetables and rice, just as Chef Sterling has done here. The first thing that hits you is the cucumber, crisp, cool, and wonderfully seasoned. Tart, well salted, and kissed with fresh herbs. They brighten the entire plate and keep each bite lively. The rice is infused with deep umami from roasted mushrooms, adding a warm, earthy richness. Roasted jalapenos bring a smoky pop of heat, and the seasoning is pitch perfect. Each bite is layered, balanced, and crave-worthy. The kind of flavor profile that lingers in your mind for days. This is a dish I'd order again without hesitation, not because it's vegan, but because it's flat-out delicious. And now, another clever mashup of 2 cultures. The Monte Cristo, which has been charming taste buds since the early 20th century, evolving from the French croque monsieur into an American indulgence, typically battered, fried, and dusted with powdered sugar. And then the Cuban, on the other hand, came to fame in Florida's Cuban communities in the early 1900s, layered with roast pork, ham, Swiss cheese, mustard, and pickles, then pressed until the bread is crisp and the inside molten with flavor. Named after the chef's daughter, Z, this creation feels like it was born somewhere between those 2 classics. Instead of the deep-fried decadence of a traditional Monte Cristo, this one is made in a panini press, giving it a golden crust without the heaviness. The egg is tucked inside rather than coating the bread, and the sandwich bursts with flavor from spicy hot links and smoky ham. It has the pressed, savory character of a Cuban, more than the sweet and savory Monte Cristo, and it works beautifully. Let's not skip the potatoes. They're exceptional. Crispy and golden, without me having to request well done as many times I need to. They remind me of potato pancakes, light yet full of flavor. Together, this sandwich and the potatoes make for a hearty, savory breakfast. It's a little bit Cuban, a little bit Monte Cristo, and a beast of a sandwich. Think of it as Havana and Paris meeting for breakfast and deciding to stay for lunch. Biscuits and gravy were born in the South back in the late 1800s when breakfast needed to be cheap, filling, and big enough to feed a farmhand or three. Back then, they'd take fresh biscuits and drown them in thick, peppery gravy made from pan drippings, milk, flour, and whatever meat scraps they could find. Sausage, if you were lucky. Hot links came along later, courtesy of African-American pit masters who wanted a sausage with real kick. Smoky, spicy, and bold enough to hold its own next to barbecue. They spread west during the Great Migration, and now they're just as at home on a breakfast plate as they are in a smoker. Now, Chef Sterling's version of this dish, let's just say there's a reason an article ranked it among the top 25 in the entire country. The plate comes loaded with 2 perfectly fried eggs, a blizzard of green onions, and slices of his dangerously addictive hot links. The gravy is rich, loaded with black pepper, sausage, and sage, right on the edge of too much. In other words, perfect. Break that yolk and let it run over everything. The hot links are next level, smoky, spicy, salty, and umami packed. They belong in the potential last meal Hall of Fame. The biscuits are light and fluffy, but still have the bold, homemade texture that only real butter can give. And unless my taste buds are hallucinating, there's a subtle, exotic brightness, maybe lemongrass or something equally sneaky that lifts the entire plate. If you love biscuits and gravy, prepare to crown your new favorite. And if you don't love biscuits and gravy, well, you're about to. Feta, watermelon, and pickled Bermuda onion pile onto a bed of baby greens. Fresh mint is everywhere. Even the vinaigrette is minty and tart. And there's a drizzle of balsamic reduction just to show off. This is the dish I came here for. I saw it on my food blog and couldn't wait to try it. Look at this beautiful watermelon. Reminds me of that game I used to play as a kid, Jenga, where you strategically remove blocks and try not to make the whole thing fall over. Watermelon and feta might sound like a millennials food blogger invention, but this combination has been popular around the Mediterranean for centuries. Greece, Turkey, Egypt, you name it. Somewhere along the line, the world figured out that sweet, juicy melon and salty, tangy cheese are like that odd couple you didn't think would work out, but somehow have been together for a lifetime. Maybe the watermelon and feta have secretly been in years of counseling. The crunch of cold watermelon against creamy feta is perfect. Then the mint vinaigrette comes in like the life of the party, and the balsamic drizzle closes it out as a perfect encore. It's refreshing, it's addicting, and it's proof you don't need a dozen ingredients to make something that keep you grinning between bites. Just when you think the meal can't get any better, out come the chef's homemade, ooey gooey chocolate chip cookies. Cloyingly sweet, they push the envelope and may make your toes curl up. But unlike the Wicked Witch of the East, it won't be because a house fell on you. It'll be due to pure joy. They're still warm, with dark chocolate chips melting as though they just heard a love song. The rich, buttery dough is so soft, it takes me right back to my childhood, sneaking cookies off the cooling rack when no one was looking. It's the kind of treat that makes you wish for a second stomach. This is an absolutely sinful way to finish the meal. Thank you, Chef Sterling. Zenaida's Kitchen isn't just a hidden Las Vegas gem. It's a place where Chef Sterling, a former private chef to Frank Sinatra, displays his wizardry in a tiny 3-day-a-week cafe. His menu is full of surprises, and after tasting some of the standouts, it's easy to see why his loyal fans plan their weekends around these limited hours. The PBJ Marshmallow French Toast is a masterpiece of breakfast comfort. Thick slices, layered with peanut butter and marshmallow, griddled to golden perfection. Then there's Tremaine's Biscuits and Gravy. The homemade biscuits, the rich sausage gravy, the perfectly fried eggs, and Chef Sterling's addicting hot links, spicy, smoky, and packed with umami. Well, it's no wonder it's earned national attention. And of course, Chloe's Watermelon and Feta Salad, a refreshing balance of sweet melon, tangy feta, and a mint vinaigrette that's bright enough to make you forget you're in the desert. This cafe feels like home, but with the skill and polish of a Michelin-starred kitchen. Chef Sterling, Make sure each dish has a story and a reason for you to return. We'll be back to Zenaida's soon, very soon. Who knows, maybe you'll see us there. And don't forget to tell them, Let's Eat Vegas sent you. There's no place like Vegas. There's no place like Vegas. Looking for another top Vegas chef who created a family-run masterpiece? Well, check out this video. And for more great breakfast food, click right here. And of course, it's always a good time to like, subscribe, comment, or share. It's free to do so, and it helps us to grow and to bring you more reviews. Until we eat again, bon appetit.